Today's first reading is one of my favorite stories from the Old Testament. No one expected David to be chosen. Samuel, in a way, was blind as to who God chose to replace Saul as king of Israel. God guided him until he anointed David. If not by God's guidance, Samuel may have made a wrong choice. It was good that he listened and followed to God's directives. He was patient while the 7 sons of Jesse were presented to him. He was patient until David was finally brought from the fields. There are lyrics from a song by Ray Boltz that I think captures this. Part of the chorus says, "When others see a shepherd boy, God may see a king." Maybe God is teaching us not to be in a hurry, not to jump to conclusions and judgment, especially when we do not know the whole story and when things are not that clear. We need a little bit more discernment, more prayer and reflecting and listening to God's signs. This does not in any way encourage prolonged indecision or unending procrastination. In the gospel, we see a physically blind man healed by Jesus and spiritually blind Jews who refuse to see God's wonderful work in Jesus and to recognize that Jesus came from God. The man who received the sight believed in Jesus, recognized Jesus as Lord and prophet, and worshiped him. The Jews, on the other hand, did not believe in Jesus and were unrepentant. They remained spiritually blind. While physical blindness can be caused by many things, spiritual blindness is when a person loses sight of the truth. That person no longer follows the path of the truth. The person can even go as far as silencing the truth. That person is in the dark. There are various types of spiritual blindness. Some people are blind to God's goodness in their lives. They do not see or count their blessings. They only see and count their woes. They're quick to complain about whatever is going wrong. They hardly see what is going right. Some people are blind to the good things in others. All they see are the wrong things, and they do not stop criticizing. They are never satisfied with what is available. Some people are blind to those in need of help or blind where their help is needed. They are quick to turn a blind eye on responsibilities that require their attention. Some people are blind to their own faults. They do not accept that they are at fault or that they got it wrong. There are people blinded by vices like anger, jealousy, and envy. There are people blinded by a cloud of confusion and are in the dark of what to do or what not to do. There are times we are blind to God's will. Every spiritual blindness is a dwelling in darkness. What is needed is the light of Christ. The second reading invites us, "Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light." Many of us have a form of blindness. We do not know why the man in today's gospel was born blind. We do know that it wasn't the result of anyone's sin. Jesus was not interested in how the man became blind. Jesus wasn't concerned on whether the man deserved to be healed. He was a man who needed healing. This was an opportunity to show the majesty of God by bringing light to a man who was in darkness. So Jesus spat on the ground, made some mud with his saliva, and put it in the man's eyes and told him to go and wash it off. Scholars have debated about what the significance of the saliva and mud were. Jesus could have healed him with a word. So why did he go through the elaborate process? Perhaps the answer is simply that Jesus approaches each person in a different way. Some he heals with a word, some with a touch. Some have prayer beforehand, some do not. Some are healed from a distance, and some are very close. Some in private, some in public. Some seek Jesus out, some are sought out by him. What we see in today's gospel is another instance of a very unique and personal encounter with Jesus Christ. Today's gospel is about discovery. One man receives the gift of sight. As the story unfolds, light dawns, and with each confrontation and each conversation, he gains more understanding of just who gave him that gift. At the end, for the first time, he sees, really sees. He was begging for sight, but he was also begging for grace. But aren't we all? St. John Paul said, we are all beggars, just like the man in today's gospel. So this Lent, ask yourself, what am I begging for? Maybe we are begging for compassion, for mercy, for peace of mind. Maybe we are hungry for love. And like the beggar in the gospel, we may also be blind, craving clarity and understanding, wanting simply to see. But in the middle of our begging, in the middle of our darkness, Christ touches us, and our world is flooded with light. My prayer for us today is that we accept the grace to see more clearly, to understand more deeply, to live more faithfully. Together, we come before God, hands outreached, asking to have our hunger satisfied, our yearnings fulfilled, asking God to give us what he knows we need. In these final weeks of Lent, let us pray that we are able to truly see.